worth living. So enjoy it. Look for the good. There's tons of bad stuff you can focus on, but at the end of the day, look for the good.
Welcome to another episode of the Michael Maloney Show, where we take you on a journey around the world, exploring the stories of successful individuals and learning from their achievements and struggles. Join us as we delve into the why and how behind their accomplishments and discover how to live a more fulfilling life. Yeah, Troy, nice to meet you. I'm Mike Maloney. I think I probably first connected with you on Facebook, is that right?
Yeah, yep.
And then I think I made a post about podcast, and then you reached out.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. So tell me about yourself.
So personally, I'm married to my wife Candace. We have a 28-year-old son, Jaden.
Where
We
do you
live
guys live?
in Waterloo,
Waterloo.
Iowa. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, same thing. Obviously, I'm in Waterloo here. Well, this is cool. I've had quite a few guests where I've connected with them online. A lot of them aren't local to me, so then I don't have the opportunity to meet them. But this will be neat because we'll definitely have to get together and connect in person here in town. But so you're
Yeah.
from Waterloo. You said you're married.
Yep. We have one son who's 28. Full time, I'm a sales manager for Gordon Flesh Company. It's office technology. My wife owns her own hair studio, and then our son works in IT for Waterloo Schools.
Wow, awesome. Gordon Flesh, I've seen that a lot in your post, and it just seems like you're really active with them. What you said quickly software, but go into more detail if you could, please. What is Gordon Flesh all about?
Yeah, so we're the largest Canon and Lexmark dealer in the U.S. So we sell copiers, printers, scanners. We also deal with managed voice services, which is like a phone platform.
Sure.
Just pretty much anything related to print, and then we also deal with phones and IT as well.
So you work, is it business to business, or are you selling to dealers, or
No,
so you
we're all
provide
business to business.
service?
Yep,
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So like if a company needed printer services, like a dental office or whatever, an investment firm, they
absolutely.
would call you. Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, there's good money in that, and we actually just recently last year, I know a guy through my elk hunting that sells printers out of Cedar Rapids, and we got a really good deal on one. But we do that same thing. It's like it's so much per month or per year, and they come and stock everything, and it works out really well.
Yep. Yeah,
Cool.
we take care of things so people don't have to, right?
There you go. Yep, it's the convenience part of it. Just like with my company, lawn care, snow removal, fertilizer. It's all stuff people maybe they don't want to do, or they just would maybe they're too busy. I'm sure with what you do with sales, I'm sure you're filling your schedule up. Similar to me, with running the company and doing sales, same basically thing. I find that sometimes it's better to hire certain things out rather than doing them myself.
Yep.
I was telling somebody at the gym yesterday, this past weekend, actually, no, it was 2 weekends ago. On Sunday, my wife and I, we were cleaning out our vehicles, and I was going to like spend a couple hours doing it and like detailing it out and everything. And this was like, I had the intentions of doing it, but then it was like later in the day, Sunday. I'm like, hon, I'm just not getting this done. I'm like, we've had a great day. I've been able to hang out with my family. I got some more important things done. It's like, I'm recognizing right now that I should probably just pay the guy that I know the details $150 and have him just go through and get that thing spotless. And then one, I'm supporting his business, but even more importantly, I'm freeing up time and for me to be able to hang out with my family or do something that's going to be more, it's going to create more impact in my own life. And I think a lot of people think about, I think I take that back. I was going to say, I think a lot of people do that, but I actually, I'm going to take that back. I think a lot of people fail to recognize that. And I think that's that abundance millionaire mentality of like, my time is worth so much. I need to use it the right way. You know what I mean?
Yep, I would agree. There's people that sit on both sides of that pendulum that say, like, I'd rather change my own oil or do my own lawn rather than paying someone else. But then you have to look at, well, that time you spent, you could, like if you're in sales, you could be out meeting customers,
Yeah,
generating revenue that'll outrun that, and you
sure.
don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, and I think and during each stage it's a little bit different too. Like, when you're like I can relate when I started my business, I took pride in that. It's like I did all my own maintenance and all, but you almost have to get off the ground so you're not having all this exorbitant cost in the startup, right? But then yeah, it's kind of like I'm trying to remember how it goes. It's like if you have more time than money, you do it yourself, but if you have more money than time, you hire it out, and it's really honestly it's so accurate. Uh, but yeah, well, Troy, I gotta say, so since being friends with you on Facebook, it's funny how the algorithms work, but I see your posts come through, and it seems like you're really active physically, and it seems like you have a lot going on. I mean, what drives you to live a life, with so much going on? I mean, have you always been just the kind of person to have a lot going on and just take care of your body and health and all that good stuff, or have you learned that over time?
I think it's a combination. I mean, it's certainly like taking care of myself physically has always been important to me, but there's times where it was more important than not. Um, and I think as you get older, you start to look at some of those things. We lost my dad to cancer in 2015, and when he got diagnosed and everything, he made a comment one day, and he said, if I knew I was going to live this long, I would have took better care of myself. So
Wow.
I think about that a lot. Like you don't think about what your 70s or your late 60s look like when you're in your 20s and 30s. So,
Right.
and that's pretty impactful for me. And just to me, the physical part of it is it's fun. I enjoy it, but it's more the mental aspect of it. I mean,
Mm.
I work through so many things in my head when I'm out running or working out. It's just that's my time that I'm just taking care of myself and I'm not worrying about other stuff and just it's good. I feel so much better after I do it. So I'm not very
Yeah.
good at rest days, which isn't good for my body, but it gets us good for my mind.
Yeah. I can relate, man, to a T. Just recently, I'm 29, so you can imagine I went from high school to college to after college, and those 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it's been, maybe 8 years now since college. I've really struggled to stay consistent in the gym, but over the last like maybe a year and a half, I've finally gotten consistent. And I've told a few people, it's like it's almost like now I feel weird when I don't go. I'm sure you can relate. No rest days, like you said. Um, but yeah, and living the lifestyle like you and I have, where we're always going, or it's all go go go. I think it's at least for me. Just yesterday I was working out. And I'm like, and I had a little anxiety going in, just a lot going on, and I'm like, man, I just can't wait to just shred this iron, and it truly does, like you said, it's good. It's good. I feel it challenges you mentally. You get better at pushing yourself. You get it's a release. Um, like you said, living a life, like taking care of your body for later on in life. I think that's probably one of the biggest kickers. And then getting so much more energy out of yourself because you're in better shape. Um, I've been that person that says, "Oh yeah, I need to go work out. I wish I would. I don't have time," or like just not prioritizing it. I think you can probably relate at some point in your life. To anybody
Yeah.
out there that's in that position, man, just I guess what I'm saying is I've been there, and now that I've finally gotten back into the rut of working out consistently, it's like I feel like I wasted my life. Like there was this time where it was like I could have been better, and now maybe my back or my posture might suffer a little bit. So now I'm working more hard. I have to work harder to get it to where I'm healthy again. I can remember back when I literally started my landscaping company, where I was just working, 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 just beating my body up in the skid loader, just bouncing over curbs and just, and I didn't have any time for the gym during those years. So I lost all that muscle that like, helps keep your form in good shape. And so now I'm fighting for that. So if anybody's listening to this and they're like, man, I'm in this position. Like I want to work out. I know I should, but I don't have, I tell myself I don't have the time. Just cut those bullshit excuses, those bullshit beliefs, and get yourself in there, and it just does amazing things, as Troy and I just have been talking about. But
Yeah. And,
so
there's all
sorry,
those
go ahead.
cliche statements, about everyone's got the same 24 hours in a day and stuff, but it's true. I
Mm,
mean, we all spend time on these things. You could take
yeah.
some of that out every day and find time. I think sometimes when people look at like leading a healthy lifestyle, they have this vision that it's hours a day, and it doesn't have to be. Just make it efficient. get in there, get your stuff done, and get on with your day. So
Damn
yeah, I would
right.
agree. If people are
You do a
listening,
lot of biking, don't you?
no, a lot of running.
Running, that's what it was. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, how long of runs do you tend to go on?
Typically 7 to 9 most days that I go out.
That's a
Later in the
damn good
summer, I'll probably
run.
go on some longer ones. Yeah.
How long have you been running that far?
It's kind of gone in spurts in my life, but for the last several years, I've been running a lot more than I used to. So I used to just run, a 5K would be about all I'd want to do. And I've always enjoyed weightlifting more than running. And as I've gotten older, I don't know, it's just therapeutic for me to go out on a trail. And a lot of times I don't ever have headphones in, so I just take in
Wow.
whatever's going on around. And when I was younger, I couldn't do that. When I was younger, I had to have a playlist and it had to have all these songs to keep me going. And
Sure.
I'd spend all this time on my iPod figuring all this stuff out, and now I just go out and run, and it's just relaxing for me. It's enjoyable.
Is that why you think you're able to go so far? You're just like in this relaxed state, or like how did you? Because I don't like run. I mean, and I when I tell myself I don't like running, I even hate saying that because I'm all this like belief guy, and like I believe that what I believe can limit me from doing stuff. So it's like I don't want to tell myself I don't like it because then I won't do it. But it's I really don't enjoy running. I mean, it's I don't know if see I struggle because my hips sometimes get a little sore, and then after I run for a while, I'll start to feel this like knot back in my shoulder blade. So do you relate? Like do you feel like really good out there, or do you have some pain?
So kind of a short story. Many years ago, I ran Dam to Dam 20K, which is 12.4, but I didn't train for it. I never ran more than 7 miles, and most of my runs were three, and it beat me up. My knee was all torn up. I went to the doctor. They wanted
Mm,
to scope it. I didn't want to do that, so I just started weight training with it, and then I went back 5 years later and ran that same race almost an hour faster than that time, and just felt solid and strong the whole time. And
interesting.
yeah, that convinced me that you can fix your body of stuff. But there's like when I'm out there, there's times I have to be cognizant, like the shoulder pain. Sometimes it comes from just being tense. So a lot of times I have to remind myself to kind of push my shoulders back, but let them drop and relax rather than, running like this, running more
Yeah,
lap.
sure.
So I kind of think about pinching my shoulder blades together, but at the same time they're dropped, and then I don't have any pain in my knee anymore. And it used to be I had to increase my mileage really slow. Like I'd have to do a two, then a three, then a four over several weeks. But now I've past 3 or 4 years, I can run a four one day, and the next time I go out, I can run 7 or 9 and not have pain. And I didn't used to be able to do that, but I attribute that a lot to strength training. So I do a lot of squats, a lot of leg work, and I think that's all the reason that I don't have pain anymore.
Do you more reps or less reps, higher weight, or do you kind of switch it up?
I switch it up, but like the sweet spot for me is like that 5 to 8 rep range when I'm squatting.
Okay,
So
sure.
I do front
And
squats,
like
back
go to where
squats,
you're
rear squats.
exhausted.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
awesome.
It's funny because sometimes people will say they don't like weightlifting because they don't get sweaty. Like people look at
They're
cardio and they
not.
think, well, I want to do cardio because I get sweaty. It's like, well, you get sweaty lifting weights if you do it right.
Yeah, you go out of that weight room feeling like you're gonna throw up because you're pushing your body that much.
Yeah,
And I live by that. I mean, it doesn't. If I were to, and I'm gonna be honest, obviously, I mean, I would say probably once every 2 weeks, maybe every 10 days when I'm in the gym, I'll leave the gym feeling like holy shit. Maybe two times out of every 10. But I think it's really worth pushing yourself past the last time. I mean, you want to slowly be pushing your weights up. I find that sometimes I'll have a weird day where I can't lift as much. Maybe it was something I ate the day before or something like that. So with 7 to 9 mile runs, like I think a lot of what prevents me from doing those longer runs, like I was saying, was a little bit of the pain, but probably mainly in my mindset. Like what are you telling yourself when you're out there past mile 4 and 5? Like I mean, is it you just not think about it, or I feel like you've had to
yeah.
teach yourself some way to be able to run that far consistently like Before we continue, I'd like to take a moment to share something I'm passionate about with you. If you're someone who is constantly striving for personal growth and loves surrounding yourself with other motivated individuals, you're going to want to hear about this. Check out growthgroupinc.com. This is an exclusive community made up of high achievers and dynamic entrepreneurs just like you. It's a space where like-minded individuals come together, collaborate, and support each other on their own journey to success. Growth Group is more than just a community, it's a collective mindset, a commitment to getting better every single day. We believe in the power of connection, collaboration, and constant growth, and we're confident that being part of this community will give you an unparalleled advantage on your path to success. So take a moment, visit growthgroupincorporated.com, and join us as we elevate our lives together. Trust me, this is one investment in your future you will not regret. Now, let's get back to our conversation.
So when I wasn't able to do that, I would get hung up on that too, like, well, what if I get out there like on an out and back run? What if I go out there and I feel really good, but by the time I turn around, now all of a sudden I'm in pain coming back. So now like when I'm running, what I think about is how good it's going to feel if I run the extra. So a lot of times I may take off on a run and I may have an intention of running 5 or 7, but I get out there and I feel good and it's like, yeah, but if like I run on Shawless Road a lot, so from where I park my truck to 63 is 4.5 miles, so that's a 9 mile out and back. So it's to me it's like really cool. So I get this idea in my head that like people drive down that road and I run all the way down and back. And some people think like, holy cow, somebody lives clear down there and I got to go see them. So to me, it's like the sense of satisfaction of doing something that I guess other people aren't willing to do.
Yeah. Well, and something else, that's an amazing thing. I love how you motivate yourself to continue out. It's like a beneficial thing. I mean, hey, I'm going to get more out of this if I keep going. That's really awesome. And God, I had another comment, but it just ran out of my brain, so I can't remember what I was going to say. But what I was going to say is there's a lot of people that can't even run. They don't have the ability. And that really motivates me. Like if I'm sitting around and I'm like, I don't want to work out, but I'll think to myself, it's like some people literally physically can't. They're wheelchair ridden, and yeah, that's motivating enough right there. It's like get off your ass and go and use your legs that God gave you, and that you're fortunate enough to have. So no, that's really
Absolutely.
powerful. I definitely look up to the fact that you're definitely into taking care of your body and your mind. What so a lot of what my show's about is just bringing to the light how people live a life of abundance and resilience and health and so it's great to see that you're doing that. What would you say your biggest reasoning, like do you have like a main reason why you want to be so healthy, or maybe a better question, like what's your why, like what's your driving force that gets you out of bed in the morning and makes you want to go and sell a bunch of stuff and provide for your family?
I think that's it. Like you said it there at the end, it's not driven at me. It's not for selfish reasons. It's so that I can be a better dad and a better brother and a better son and a better uncle, um, all those types of things. So to
Oh
me,
yeah.
like living that life of abundance. So like with our nonprofit for suicide awareness, that's all volunteer work, and people
So
ask a
you
lot
have a
like,
nonprofit, or you're part of one,
yep,
is that right? So what's
yeah,
the name of that?
Alive and Running Iowa.
Alive and Running Iowa. Okay, tell us more.
So we started that in 2010. My wife and I started it with good friends of ours, Ryan and Melissa Nesbitt. So backstory on that, Ryan and I, when we were in high school, sophomores at Dunkerton, a very good friend of ours took his life, and Ryan was actually the one that found him, and
Oh wow.
really messed him up for many years. And he tried coping through drinking and partying and all those things, and that didn't really work. And then later in our late 20s, early 30s, started realizing there's better ways to deal with that for him. And we were sitting around our table one night having dinner when we lived in Fairbank, and we just started talking about how far he had come, and we were like, there's nothing for suicide prevention. Like there's diabetes walks, there's heart walks,
Yeah.
there's cancer walks, there's all kinds of stuff, but nothing for this. So we started it in 2010 with a 5K. It was just we thought if we get 100 people to show up, this would be amazing. And we had like 450 the first year come out to Dunkerton, and we were just blown away. Like, oh my Lord, what did we just?
And where's that at? Do you have it in
Dunkerton.
Fairbank? Dunkerton. Okay, great.
Yep. Yeah, we hold it in Dunkerton every year. That's where we graduated from. That's where we lost Roger. So that's
Sure.
kind of symbolic for us to take it back out there. And now, if you fast forward to what it is today, it's a 2-day event. It's always Father's Day weekend. So that Saturday we run the 5K, and then the Friday prior to that we do a remembrance ceremony. So we have these luminary bags that people buy, and they decorate them in memory of people that they've lost. And we put them out in a big pre-lit semicolon that my brother made. And everyone gathers around the field. We have a slideshow that's playing with pictures that people have submitted of the loved ones they lost. And, there's music that goes with it. So we also have 2 support groups that meet every month for those people that have lost somebody to suicide. We do
Unreal. That's amazing, Troy.
Events. Yeah.
Mostly all around Dunkerton area. So if somebody has interest in attending this or being a part or a volunteer, how could they find out more? Reach out directly to you, or?
Yeah, they can reach out to me directly. Our website has a ton of information, so that's just aliveandrunningiowa.com, all spelled out.
Aliveandrunning.com. Aliveandrunningiowa.com. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and that's, when you talk about like living a life of abundance, that's completely serving other people. And
Amen.
A lot of times people ask me, they're like, well, how do you do all this? How do you, because I cover multiple offices for Gordon Flesh. Like today I'm in Davenport. And then, having a family and everything else. And it's like, yeah, but anytime you give of yourself, life's just so much more rewarding than it is when you're just living selfishly.
So, amen, dude. 100%. And that's a lot of why I do this podcast. Like, same thing, man. And that's what's so cool about you, Troy. I think we're very alike in the way we live our lives and the way we're set up, because I'm also busy, and people are like, why are you doing the podcast and stuff? And it's all truly to serve and give back and allow people to hear other people's stories, which can motivate and inspire them to do great things. And I mean, I live by these 4 pillars, and one of them is contribution, which you touched on, helping other people, but it's growth. You should always be growing in your life. Gratitude. You should always be grateful for everything in your life, good and bad, and realize that there's good that comes from the bad. Just like, unfortunately your dad passed away from cancer, but you learned how to take care of your body through conversations with him through that, like that was a good that came from that. Connection, networking, meeting people like you, connection with your family, connections with your loved ones, being present with them. And then, the last one was contribution. Those are the 4. So growth, gratitude, connection, contribution. And I think if somebody focuses on those 4 and lives by those practices, I mean, you're pretty much, there's no, unless God takes you before, earlier, just, I guess what I'm trying to say is, unless you go before you thought you were going to go, there's really nothing that can go wrong. I mean, life is there to serve us. It's just a beautiful thing. But what was the name of your nonprofit again, Troy?
Alive and Running Iowa.
Alive and Running Iowa. Awesome. So, and are there still spaces available for the 5K coming up? That's next weekend, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and this year, there's still spaces. They can go on our website. They can still register. We'll take registrations. So we do the 5K starts at 7:30 on that Saturday. That'll be the 17th of June. We'll take registrations up until 7 that morning. They can walk up and register. They can register Friday night at the Dunkerton gym. And then before that, they can do it online at any time. This year's a really special year for us. So we came in contact with a gal named Emma Benoit, who attempted to end her life when she was a senior in high school, survived it. She's in a wheelchair now. She's 22 now. She created a documentary called My Ascension. We found out about it, and Alive and Running bought the rights to show it. And we've had Emma up here twice now. In October, we had her at the Gallagher Blue Dorn, and we showed it. And then we did a week-long tour across Iowa back in March, and we hit 10 different locations, everywhere from Ames to the Quad Cities, and the response was awesome. So,
That's
uh,
amazing.
yeah, it took some sweet talking to get her. She's from Louisiana to get her to come back, but she's coming back next week. So Monday night we sponsor the Waterloo Bucks game. So she'll be there. They'll show the trailer of the film at the beginning, and then they'll have a little blurb about if you want to see the whole thing, come Friday to our event. And then she's going to go out and either her or her boyfriend Evan will throw the first pitch. It'll be really cool to have her out in front of
Cool.
everyone. Um, and then she's just going to hang out in our booth. She's got only a few events that week. Kind of took it a little easier on her this time because last time it was a grind for her to get through all that. I mean, she's
Oh, I'm sure.
in a wheelchair. Things are just more difficult. So she just has a handful of events this time. And then Friday at 6 o'clock at the Dunkerton Gym, we'll show the entire documentary, and then she'll do a Q&A for like an hour before we start our remembrance ceremony. And the Q&A, like to her, she says that's like the meat and potatoes because that's when people get to ask questions. People, ask her all kinds of stuff, and she handles questions so well. For being so young, she's studied so much about mental health after almost losing her life. She's got just great feedback, and it seems to me that parents, you could be 60 years old or you can be 12, and Emma resonates with you because she looks at things from both points of view now. She looks at it
Mm.
as, when she was a teenager and she didn't like things that her parents were doing or not letting her do, that kind of stuff. Now she looks at it in a different light, right? It's like my dad always said, well, you'll realize the older you get, the smarter I am. As you get older, you
Yeah.
realize that your parents really do know a lot. So she's getting through that
Yeah.
age where she looks back and thinks, mom and dad probably did do the right thing there by not letting me do
Wow.
whatever I wanted
And
to
that's
do.
obviously super constructive for any kids watching it. I mean,
Yeah.
to hear from both sides like that, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I just
we're
like
excited
what
about
you're
this year.
doing. It's bringing so much awareness to it, Troy. Like you said, there's a lot of people there's not very many events at all. You hear of the hotline numbers and you see the commercials and the billboards, but other than that, I mean, it's kind of kept like in the closet type thing. And I think it's one of those things where when you bring it out into the public and allow people to talk about it and be open about it and and explain that it's normal to have feelings, when you're having a bad day or if you get in trouble with your parents, or something goofy causes you to think these weird things, but just to realize that it's all bullshit and that life is beautiful and that there's not anything that can't be fixed, and just having those conversations I think is really powerful. And by doing what you're doing, hosting the events, you're creating a platform for that, a safe space for that, and that's beautiful, dude. I mean, that's amazing. That's really freaking cool. So I'm excited for you, and I'm proud of you. Grateful to have
Thanks,
met
man.
you. I'm gonna do my best to make so the 5Ks on the 18th or the 17th.
17th. So it's the Saturday, the day before Father's Day.
Okay, sounds good. Awesome. Well, Troy, thanks so much for coming on today. I mean, I really appreciate it. Anytime you have any events coming up or anything, make sure you let us know and we can hop on here and kind of showcase it. Um, I'm gonna try to expedite editing on this so that we can possibly get it out before the event. Normally, we were gonna release them way down the road, but just to try to get some publicity for your event, I think it'd be awesome to try to get it out. No promises, but we'll try.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
fantastic.
Heck yeah. Do you have I always like to leave the mic open at the end. Do you have anything you'd like to say any of the listeners? If not, no problem. Sometimes people do have a message to say, but do you have anything at all you want to leave anybody with?
Yeah, I guess I would just say that, like, you've touched on this in different words as well, but, life's worth living. So enjoy it. Look for the good. There's tons of bad stuff you can focus on, but,
Mm,
at the end of the day, look for the good. Being in sales, you go through tons of rejection all day long. And, like I always tell our team, like, the wins have to carry you through the losses. So focus on the wins, focus on the good stuff that happens, and just enjoy life.
awesome. Yeah, it's such a wise mentality, Troy. And I've oh my God, thank you so much for sharing that. please, anybody that's having a bad day or going through rough times, just remember, like Troy said, look for the good, look for the silver lining. Life is so freaking beautiful. We're doing our creator a disgrace when we're in a bad mood,
Yep.
straight up. But awesome. Well, thanks again, Troy.
You bet.
That was another episode of the Michael Maloney Show. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.